you're unsure if you should even be sending DMs at all, this is actually part 2 to a 2-part series I'm doing on Instagram DMs, with the first part being on the new DM features that Instagram just added, as well as what businesses would benefit from having this be part of their marketing strategy. So if you're not sure, go ahead and pause this episode, click the link in the description so you can find that episode, because that is part 1 and this is part 2 where we go over the strategy. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, when is the appropriate time to send someone a message? Really, you can find reason to send someone a message at any time, but the easiest ways to do it is either 1, when they recently engaged with one of your posts, or 2, when they just followed you. And the second one is actually a really big opportunity, and we're going to be talking about why. But let's talk about the first one. So the first one is when someone recently engaged with your post, so liked or commented. And what you're going to do is just go to your recent posts, go through the likes, go through the comments, click on the profiles. If there's any kind of qualifying you can do for your business that is easily done through their account, do that first. And then we're going to go on to the next part and send them an actual message if they match up to the qualifications. For someone who recently followed you, you're going to do the same thing. Go over to their account and make sure it's someone you actually want to DM. And then the reason why this works so well is oftentimes when people follow you is when they are the most engaged in your content. When they chose to follow you, they might have gone through a bunch of your Instagram posts. They might have just come from your YouTube channel or whatever other social media platform that you have going on. And if they followed you, that is often one of the times that they are giving you the most attention. And obviously they just saw some piece of content from you that made them follow you. So saying thank you for the follow is a very easy in, and then you can continue the conversation from there. So a little bit of the psychology of the opening message that generally works the best is just saying either thank you for keeping up with me, or thank you for all your recent engagement, thank you for liking all my posts, and then you can say a compliment about their account. And this is not hard to do. People all over the world are awesome for whatever their hobby is or whatever they're all about, their lifestyle. It doesn't matter. There's something awesome about everyone out there. And it's pretty easy to find from their Instagram profile. So some kind of genuine compliment works great here. Or you can even ask a question if you're genuinely curious about their business, which I find myself doing all the time. Or if, not a business, just a person, ask them about whatever. Really just be a person, all right? You're not going to overthink this too much, but if you do some kind of compliment or ask some kind of question, you're usually going to get a response and you have the conversation started. Now, where to go with it from here, I'm actually going to now pull up an example and read you the entire conversation. So here's a conversation I had with someone that had just followed me. So I sent him a message that said, "Hey man, thanks for the follow. Checked out your gym page and love the no BS bio of what you're all about." He responded back, "Hey brother, thank you. I appreciate it. You have good content. Keep it up." Not online yet. It is a plan for the future. And then I said, "I have a method that works really well for gyms to sign up new local members on IG. If you ever want to hop on a complimentary call and I can show you how it would work for your business, just let me know and we can set something up." He said, "Right on, bro. What's your availability? How long do you estimate the call to take?" I said 45 minutes because I need to figure out all your business specifics first. And then I sent him my link to book, and then he booked the call. So let's break down this conversation. The first thing was simply, "Hey, thanks for the follow," and then a compliment. He responded and then just said that he liked my content, right? So a little bit to work with there. Then I asked, "Are you mostly finding your clients through Instagram?" The reason why is because I'm selling a marketing offer, so I need to figure out what he's doing for marketing. So even if you're an e-commerce company, you would ask a question around the problem you solve, but the goal is to not be too obvious about what you're trying to allude to, right? So you wouldn't say something like, "Hey, have you considered buying any candles recently?" But you could say something like, "What are your favorite scents of candles?" and just get the ball rolling on the subject of candles, but not obvious that you're trying to sell them one, because you're not yet, right? You're just trying to have a conversation about it. Then the next part is he told me where he was getting his clients from. So they'll tell you how they're trying to solve that problem. And then that made it so it was very easy for me to then propose the solution of, if you would like to chat about your marketing plan, we can do that, right? Because If I'm going to make a proposition of this consultation call, right, in this particular instance, the consultation call is to help them out with marketing. So what would I need them to say right before I would offer it is that they could use some help with marketing. And if they don't, then I wouldn't offer them the call, right? So that's the other thing. It's not trapping people. It's just really figuring out who's interested and qualifying through questions. But the questions are also a conversation. So it doesn't seem like we're selling or doing anything weird. And the worst case scenario is we had a great conversation and built rapport around it, right? So for me, I need to get them to admit that they don't know what they're doing with their marketing before I can propose the call. And then for you, that could mean that they talk about, man, I really don't like a lot of the candles I've bought recently from Yankee Candle. Maybe that's the thing that you would need them to say before it would make sense, before you would propose your offer. Or maybe you are a fitness coach and they say, no matter what I try, just nothing works. And I've tried to lose the weight this way and that way. So maybe your questions before in the fitness example would be, what are you doing for fitness right now? Or do you mind if I ask what your goals are? I don't really like that question, by the way, for fitness instructors of like, what are your goals right now? Because unless they're like trying to compete, a lot of times it's very hard for them to actually tell you what their goal is, but you could ask like what they're doing to solve the problem, right? The next step is, what are you doing to solve the problem, is the conversation you're trying to have. And then if they can say something along the lines of, I just can't seem to solve this problem, that is when you have the in to now propose your offer or not. A lot of times the conversation does not lead down this road as smoothly, and that's totally fine. But you can see that through this progression, when it comes to actually saying, well, if you're curious on trying something on my website, I'd be happy to give you an offer. If you'd be curious to jump on a phone call, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Even if you're selling a cheap product, $30 product, hey, get that customer on a phone call, especially if you're new. You could close this person, but you'll find out so much about them and just hearing their thought process. If you're like, well, would you like to jump on a quick call? Like if that would make sense, okay? Whatever would make sense for you to now propose to help them solve that problem. Now you have the in because they just told you they're trying to solve it and they can't seem to solve it. So I hope this breaks down the simple psychology that is really happening in an Instagram DM conversation and how this is so easy for any business to leverage, and having this one-on-one customer contact is what leads to super followers, people who are true fans of your brand because they've actually had good conversation with you. This is what leads to companies understanding the ins and outs of how their customers think, and this is how they control their sales process by going out there and having an outbound part of their strategy rather than just producing content and waiting for sales to come in. This is a means of them saying, we need more sales right now. How can we have an outbound prospecting strategy that is actually really effective? And it's this. So I hope you get started with this today, my friends. Make sure you're subscribed, leave a review if you got some value, and I will be talking to you real soon.